This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on!
Game on!
We are back with another episode of the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast, episode 117. The guests continue to roll in. What are we, 3 weeks in a row? 4 weeks in a row now? Chris Groth joining us from the lovely Minnesota. You just like me and Wade, you had a good view of the last couple nights of the Northern Lights up there, I'm guessing.
Oh man, yeah, we definitely did. Yeah, wasn't that something? Oh my God.
And Paul was on the wrong side of the airplane flying home during it, so he missed it.
Yeah, I was bummed. I mean, we chose the wrong side of the plane to see him, but oh well.
But welcome. We'll get to all your collecting, your backstory, all that kind of stuff here in a minute. But a couple other things. The drink of this evening, because I'm playing Saturday before the Blues game in goal, and Pronger wasn't a goalie. I did break out the Belfour small batch bourbon for my old fashioned, and to add a little extra this week, I actually smoked it before I brought it up here to my office to drink. Put the little thing over the top, got the wood going, and just let the smoke build up inside there. Smoked old fashioned. If you haven't had one, I highly recommend it. So, cheers to everybody.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I've done that a couple times with Dr. Pepper.
Yes, we could try and do a smoked Dr. Pepper for you, Wade.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really something special.
We want to thank Mitch for your Drink Your Face Off line of barware and clothing. Sent me this wonderful, and I know Paul has one too, and I believe Wade does as well. If not, he will get one. The Masked Man of Teal travel mug. Those always come in handy, because who doesn't need more travel mugs? So thank you to Mitch for all that. Looked like he had now we need to get him on soon, Paul, because I want to talk about his traveling to Toronto and all that kind of stuff at some point. So hopefully we can pull him. He's such a busy man. We'll pull him away at some point, get him on soon. I know we will have him on in Vegas, because he's going to be there. I'm going to be there, so he's not getting out of it. Again, thank you to Mitch Stiles last week. It's a fun conversation. I don't remember how late we got off the show last week. It was so late. But it's always fun afterwards. We get done recording, just talking about all kinds of stuff. And I mean, sometimes I almost wish we'd record that and then do it as like a Patreon, but we'd probably get ourselves in trouble. I want to wish everybody safe travels to all the expos this weekend. There are 3 going on. You've got Hershey, Detroit, and Chicago. So if you're going to any of those expos, please, safe travels. Have a good time. If you see stuff cool out there, shoot us pictures, share them online, whatever you do. Just, again, enjoy the expo. I know we harp on them every show. Have a good time. Talk to people. Don't just sit behind your table. Always roam around it. It is absolutely so much fun to do. Auction-wise, several different things going on. NHL auctions. It's interesting. If you go look under categories for game-worn stuff, there's not a category. But I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I catch stuff just by searching. Well, the personal effects of the house, Hockey Royal Family, has several things going on in there. They have Gordie Howe's final NHL game-worn jersey from the 79-80 season. It ends November 25th. Already has 15 bids at $39,500. Let me read that correctly. Gordie Howe's 86 All-Star game-worn jersey was an honorary captain. That's at $13.99. Marty Howe game-worn jersey, multiple signed heroes jersey. Gordie Howe's on there. Bobby Hull, Stan Mikita, a whole bunch more. That's currently at $3.99. Those all ending November 25th. Also a Mitch Marner game-worn Toronto Maple Leafs helmet currently starting bid of $1,000. That's at NHL auctions. Gray Flannel, their auction started. They don't have a lot on the hockey side, but they have some big guns in there. Messier, Brodeur, Scott Stevens. You got some Brodeur gear, a Lundqvist jersey, Rangers Eastern Conference Finals. Scott Stevens gloves, some Gretzky sticks. 1960s Glenn Sather, his rookie era game jersey, and some other pieces in there. Even if you want a Alex Trebek Jeopardy worn Toronto Maple Leafs jersey, it is out there. Of course, Trebek was Canadian. 5 bids on it. It's currently $146. You just kind of want something cool and different. Why not? A Leech, some other stuff in there. Oop, even a Wade for you if you've not looked. A 98-99 Ricard Pearson Blues game worn jersey. So there's a lot of different stuff out there. So check those out. Over to classic auctions. There's also started. You've got an 86-87 Penguins Mario Lemieux jersey. Has My Great LOA. Other stuff with it. Current bidding on that is $79,000+. That ends on 19 days, and that's at 79,367 already with 24 bids. Wow, that is absolutely crazy.
Going up.
You got your bid in on that one, Chris?
No, oh man, I wish. That's a beauty, man. That's a great. I like Mario, but yeah, it's a good one.
Those are definitely some beautiful pieces, and the oddest ball piece that I found, kind of looking through the auction, just skimming stuff that's on classic auctions, is Maurice Richard's front door. It is from his original front door from his house, has a monogrammed MR on it. It is the whole door. The handle is still there and everything. The door weighs 94 pounds. They will not ship, so if you do decide you want to bid on that, you are going to have to pick that up from Classic Auctions. It does have 2 bids currently at $587. It's a cool piece. Heck, the hinges are still there, so you could just go take it right home and mount it. Works better for initials.
My buddy has his license, his driver's license, like his last driver's license, and he keeps it with him and he shows people. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, why do you have his license? And then, someone's gonna have a door? Come on.
Well, tell them,
the rocket. All right.
You've got the license, now you need to upgrade to the door too. You just have to
go
to
get
Canada
the door.
to pick it
up. Yeah.
Yep. That is all the big auction stuff out there. So we'll jump right into you, Chris. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background first, and kind of how you got into hockey and collecting?
Great question. From Minnesota, grew up. I actually didn't get to play on a team growing up, but we had live on Lake Minnetonka, awesome lake, Black Lake, right on Lake Minnetonka. And my dad always made a rink with boards, and we were out there all day long, right? All day long, we had lights and everything. And as growing up, I always liked it. I kind of went into music more, but I just loved the kind of my born in 82. So like in the 90s, was kind of my the wheelhouse of beginnings of all of that. And then just really loved the game, playing it. And then, we lost the North Stars here in Minnesota. That was a big bummer. Didn't even really get to enjoy the North Stars. But loved the sport. I mean, it's like a religion here in Minnesota. I mean, we've got, I've coached it here. My son's a senior in high school. He's on the varsity team, so it's like his last year of varsity hockey, and it's all encompassing here in Minnesota, and the heritage, right, and the romance of it all. So loved it, and then as far as collecting, I grew up with cards, and you remember the old, like the Fleer Ultra, whatever, all those old cards from the 90s, and and then kind of got the Minnesota got another team, the Wild came into play, and heavily enjoyed going to those games. Actually, my first ever game was the first season, the inaugural season. I was a senior in high school. I used to have dreadlocks. I had dreadlocks for like 17 years. I'm a musician, and it was interesting. So we went with one of my buddies, brought us, and it was a 0-0 tie. And this was my first NHL game. So a 0-0 tie against the Predators. And wow, this is really cool, but okay. 0-0 tie. All right. Well, the next year I went to 2 games, and had actually really good tickets, right? 5 rows from the glass. We saw the Kings, and we got shut out 2-0 against Anson Carter and the Kings. And then we saw the Oilers with Ryan Smith, and they shut us out 2-0 as well. So we had that year I still haven't seen the Wild. I haven't even heard the goal horn in two years, right? And then so the next year, this girl is like, hey, know you like hockey and everything, and she wanted to have me go with her for a 10-game package. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. And then that was the year, if you guys remember, in 2002, 2003. The Wild went on a really ridiculous little run that they probably had no business being a part of. When they first round was they retired Wah with Andrew Brunette's goal there in the overtime, and then we went to Vancouver, and it was just like this magical season where all 10 games I feel like we won. It was just like it like hooked me. I remember sitting outside for the playoff games. Outside like J.C. Penney's like two hours before at the Ticketmaster to get tickets just to get to those playoff games, and that was something else, like next level, like the energy just being in that building. And so here I am, I'm digging it. I really like jerseys as well, by the way. So I was getting some of the replica ones. Had no idea. I'm like searching through eBay back in 2000, and what was it, 2002, I think, was right around the same time that I got and something other than a Wild replica jersey that I actually had my senior picture in. My senior picture was a Wild jersey and a red bandana, and there I got my dreadlocks, and glorious.
That had to be a
just
fun
a glorious picture of me. Oh my God, I wish we could just go boop. There it is right there on the screen. But
find it.
Yeah, it was
before I post the show, and I'll use that as our pop-up there.
Oh God. It's embarrassing. Yeah, maybe. Well, let me see. But anyway, so I remember getting like this Vancouver Canucks jersey for whatever reason of a Sedin, and it was it was a real one. It was like a fight strap and everything. I was like, what is this? We can get, they wear this. This is like way better material. Just kind of the gradual, graduation into learning about the differences between replica, pro authentic. That started me on a little bit of a journey of like, all right, I'm gonna get all my guys. I'm gonna get I'm gonna try to get this jersey, that jersey, and learning about it, and then God, just kind of started from there. And then I remember one time outside going into one of the Wild games, I saw a guy that turned out to know him later on, but Dave Frechette. Is a collector here in Minnesota, the Godfather. He's the one that started the Minnesota Expo in St. Paul here at Tom Reed's here. So, but anyway, I saw him wearing a Pascal Dupuis Cleveland Lumberjacks, and it was a white one, and it was littered with stick marks, and you could tell from across the street as he's walking. I was like, what? Whoa, that's sweet. That's got to be his game. That's the one that Pascal Dupuis wore. Like, okay. Looking back, like, okay, Pascal Dupuis minor league jersey, right? But that was the one. I was like, that's so cool. Now, I never had the opportunity to get it. I think it went back to Pascal at some point. I don't know. But that was kind of the intro to like, oh, you can get those, and those are pretty sweet, and they've got all the marks on them and everything. So that was kind of the intro to, knowing that there's game worn jerseys that you can have and get. So started there, and kept on going with the pro authentic now collection, and got some, like I really like the 91, 92, the 75th patch, like everybody does. I mean, oh my gosh, it's a great year, great collector's time. The original six, those ones were just unbelievable. But yeah, just started a little collection and then started to branch out into the other ones. One thing was the Crosby. Then you couldn't get found out you couldn't get the Crosby Rimouski Oceanic jersey. And I'm like, come on, they don't even make one. They don't even make the pro one. And then so I ended up finding, this is way back. Everybody can yell at me all they want. You yell at me all you want. But I actually worked to deal with the team, and I got a bunch of them, and I had them changed into Crosby. So guilty. That was way, way, way back.
Back before you knew
anybody
that
wants to
was
send
not
me horrible
a good
messages, go
necessarily
for
a
it.
good thing,
I
right?
had no idea. Yeah, no idea at all. So got a couple of those, and that was probably the only time I did that with gamers. Absolutely, any game worn that was changed, that was definitely taboo. But again, you can't get. There was no way you can get them until you take a couple from you. Okay, I'm gonna change. You all right, Crosby. So anyway, so did that and just kind of collected what I wanted. I'm a Minnesota guy, but like, it would be having all just the same green and white jerseys weren't really, I wanted, I wanted more. I wanted I wanted all the players from like, Pavel Bure and all those players. And I wish that I had a lot of money back then and I could have just picked up all those players back in 2004, 2003, right? Oh my God. But yeah, so started that way, like a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people start that way too, right? And then they just stumble into the hobby and however they do. So yeah, and just kind of collect what I love, and it's gotten pretty ridiculous and crazy, right? That's how it goes.
Funny how every one of us would say that same thing is ridiculous and crazy. What is your
right? We're all psychopaths.
right? What was your
Yep.
first ever game worn jersey you got?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I got two of them at the same time. It was a Kim Janssen Black Flyers jersey. And then it was a Brian Potier. Is that how you pronounce it? Like red Senators jersey. I got them for really cheap. And I was like, these are sweet. And nobody knows who the heck they are, right? And but they were cool. I have no idea where they are now. Those are, I think, the two that were the first that I've had. Yeah. It was like both of them at the same time.
How many do you think you have now in your collection?
That's a great question. Between still have some pro authentic stuff. God, I did a count under 200, something like that, like between 150, 200, something like that, around
nice.
there. So not crazy, but still crazy enough to be, an absolute psychopath for sure. But we're all amazing, beautiful psychopaths that we love it. I love it. I love being one.
Out of everything you have, what is your, if somebody walks in your house and they were a collector, or that even they're not, you're saying you've got to see this jersey, what one is it?
God, what a great question. I mean, it really depends on the person, right? But like, I know what you mean generally, right? What's the best? What's the best of the best? I mean, I've got some behind me. I really like the Mario Lemieux. Right here is the 96 alternate one that he wore. He's in a 5-goal game against the Blues.
Yeah, don't remind me.
So it was a 5-goal game
or
against
Wade.
the Blues. Yeah, I know. So that's real. I really love that one. It was one for, I forget how many games, a lot. And, Casey Samuelson helped me out with, narrowing it down. But it's the first time they came out with the 96 alternates that year. And I was just pretty tickled to have a Mario Lemieux jersey. I got that, almost a decade ago, maybe. No, not that long ago. 6 years ago, 7, 8. I don't know. Time is just whatever, all relative. So that's probably probably my favorite one. I also have an Ovechkin, 06, 07 Ovechkin somewhere hiding behind me. I like that one a lot as well. It's got awesome repairs. It was worn for, I want to say, 12 games through 13 games, something like that. Maybe 14. I'm bad with stats, but it's got awesome use, and those are hard to find with good use. So those are some good ones. What I think a piece that I really like that I got somewhat recently acquired are some Mario Lemieux gloves. And I never thought I would really like gloves as much as I like these gloves. And so, little background, when you guys are, you see the equipment at the team sale. We have the Hockey Lodge in Minnesota, and we had a player, Mikhail Granlund. And I like Granlund a lot. And I think he's a great player and pretty exciting here. Where maybe it was a little bit mediocre time in Minnesota, but maybe not. We were a playoff team. But I found out that Granlund wore his gloves pretty much the whole year, the one pair of gloves the entire year. And that was pretty cool because it's like you wore the whole year. So every moment, right? Every moment from that year, I'm photo matching. It's like he wore the same gloves the whole year. And then he did it the next year, a different one. Oh, okay. And then the next year. So I've got 3 sets of Granlund gloves. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them, like ultimately, but I've got 3 awesome pairs of Granlund gloves that are beat up and worn.
Say probably beat to hell.
So yeah, they're pretty holy. But then I actually have them over here. No idea that he wore these the whole year. These are another full season game use gloves. They're got them in a little box here. Let's see if you can see them. They're Mario Lemieux gloves from the 92-93 season.
Wow.
And they're pretty beat up. I can take them on maybe, but I don't know. You can see them, right?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, these are photo matched to, I want to say, about a bajillion cards that then started me on a little path of collecting all these Mario cards. So I don't know, the 92-93 season for Mario was pretty significant, I'd say, right? He had took off. So like, hey guys, I'm going to take off for 2 months and have cancer, happen. And then I'm going to come back and still, win the MVP and, be unbelievably dominant. I mean, that was arguably maybe one of the most impressive seasons in NHL history. Mario's 92-93 season.
Oh,
looks like we just lost Chris. Hopefully he'll get back on there in a minute. A little bit of signal issues.
Here he comes.
Hopefully, yeah. This is the kind of technology thing that we always go through when we're all scattered around the country. But
yeah. Hey, all good. So to continuing the 92-93 season. Are we there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. We just can't see you, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry. All right. Hey, we'll get this figured out here. Well, anyway, you can hear me. Well, my story is going to be amazing about the 92-93 season with Mario Lemieux. So I'm pretty excited that I have them. I'm enjoying photo matching them. There is an interesting thing with Mario that they used the same pictures of that from him with the black I guess it was their black road jersey with the diagonal Pittsburgh down. So I'm photo matching it from images on cards into like 1996. So, but yeah.
And that's just fun because Mario, you don't even have to be a hockey fan. People know Mario Lemieux way outside of hockey. It's a handful of names that if even if you just stopped a random person on the street and mentioned him, Gretzky, a few other, Brett Hull, a few others, everybody knows who they are. And they're so used. They immediately, if you ask what team he played for, everybody would know the Penguins.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, I think that there's the debate of he could have been, considered the best to ever play, considering certain situations. I know it's, everybody goes to Wayne and I totally get it, but that's super cool to me. I really enjoy the history of it all, and having something like that, and owning it, and for however long I do, that's super super cool and special to me. I feel it's a piece of history. So that is something that I would tell people about, and then show the matches and the cards, and it's super cool.
So besides, you said about 200 jerseys. How many sets of gloves? And I even see a helmet in your background. How many helmets?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've got that's a Theo Fleury. Theo Fleury is my guy too. I've got some Theo Fleury action going on. So I've got some helmets. I've got a Flames Theo Fleury over there. I've got a Rangers lid over here. Um, well, it's just some wild lids and stuff. Nothing too fancy. Gloves, I've got a pair of Ovechkin gloves. So not so heavily focused on the gear, but definitely ones that are, that are special and meaningful to me. I think if I think it's cool, and if and I really dig it myself, I'm gonna probably try to go after it. Can you see me right now, or no?
You're
Am
frozen,
I
but that's
still
okay. Your
black?
audio is perfect, and half people listen to us on audio anyway, so you're
Well, I
good.
hope. Yeah, I hope my image is amazing. That it's
Yeah,
frozen.
nope,
It's not a
you
stupid
are
face, but
great.
anyway.
Now,
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, I got some sticks. Maybe I've got a Gretzky, some Gretzky Oilers stick. I got a Kings Gretzky stick, and then some other sticks and everything. But as far as sets of gloves and gear, that's I'm mostly jerseys.
so
Some
your
Marty St.
focus
Louis
is
skates.
more, or seems to be mostly higher end guys that you watched during when you grew up and watched hockey. Is that kind of what it comes down to,
Yeah,
and some of the modern guys too, of course,
yeah,
uh, like the
yeah,
old number eight. If there was
yeah. No,
any,
I've definitely got modern.
oh sure. Um, Now were you able to, being in Minnesota and following the Hockey Lodge and all that, were you able to jump on when they just dumped all their stuff for super cheap online that one weekend? Because I know a lot of people got really good deals.
No.
I'm just curious, since you're up that way and we're used to watching the Hockey Lodge.
Yeah, no. I was watching. You know what I was doing? I was at we were at a Timberwolves versus the Mavericks Western Conference Finals gathering. We were watching that game, and then all of a sudden I get hit up, and then oh my gosh, this happened. And then I think the people that got it, hey, it was great. A lot of people got some smoking deals. That's great. We all get to do that, if we do, that's incredible. And no, some good people got some really good stuff for really cheap, and that's awesome. And
Oh,
I
for sure.
really I love that. Yeah, I mean that was great. So I personally didn't. So I don't mean to I hope I don't sound like I have poopy pants right now, because I don't have any
No,
poopy
no,
pants
you're
about
good.
it at all. It's super cool. It's
I have
super
poopy
cool. I was
pants.
like, what did they do? Oh, you got poopy pants? Oh my
On that kind
god.
of stuff, yeah,
Yeah,
I get poopy pants. Oh.
You feel like,
I had a little bit of poop in my pants.
yeah, that was insane to see that. Now, again, you've got a lot of amazing stuff in your collection now. What if you could have anything, what would it be?
Great question, right? I think that changes. I mean, it's like, it's kind of like being asked, I'm a musician, and I sing and perform. And I get the question all the time, well, what's your favorite song to sing, or all these things? It always kind of changes, right? But as far as like what would be, something that I would, yeah, because I mean, if price wasn't an issue, I don't know. I think it would be, sometimes I feel like I would really like an old, Gretzky, or not Gretzky. I'm sorry, a Lemieux, like an older Mario, like Let's Sing Classic, that I could have. Oh my gosh, if I had $150,000 or whatever that's going to go for, laying around, if I had a lot more saved up or something, and I could justify something like that, probably take a stab at something like that. But it's different for everybody. I don't even know which one I would keep if there was, if I could be told I could only keep one. But that's the part of that's the part of the psychopath, I think, right? The craziness of like, oh my God, and that's fun though. That's beautiful. I think that's like, there's a genuine thing, I think, just to, to have like, all right, I don't really know, but it'd be cool to be in the arena of being able to, to have that, be something that could happen. But yeah.
Now, do you collect much of the current player stuff, or have you kind of been doing more of older players again? Like all your stuff is high end and amazing guys, but are you still buying stuff from this past season, or looking at stuff for this current season?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, like, no, I'm there. I have no focus, really. I don't really have a focus, I don't think. I mean, even if I told myself I have one, I lie to myself because I like all of the things, right? Like, right? Like, I love them all. Like, from a juniors jerseys to like, funky AHL, whatever. If I really dig the style or something, I'll try to, maybe if it makes sense, hey, I'll try to go after it. And if it's if I can get it in a trade or something, awesome. I don't know, just whatever's going on. So yeah, no, I don't have a focus. Sometimes I envy people that do have a focus that's specific and they're very, very happy sticking into the boundaries of whatever of that focus, and that's great. But I guess I don't really have one. I mean, I've got a bunch of Theo Fleury jerseys for some reason. I think the only other Flames jersey I have right now is a Joe Nieuwendyk, I think.
Good, great
Yeah,
player.
and then as far as right, Joe, heck yeah. Theo was lonely. He needed a friend on his team, so got Joe Nieuwendyk picked up that. I've got one of his Rangers jerseys. I mean, I've got Wild, fans. So I've got some Gabrick jerseys that are cool, and some of his Gabrick's Rangers jerseys. I don't know. I've got a ton of stuff from high end to low end to modern to whatever vintage. So yeah, I mean, I've got one of Michkov's jerseys, right, from last year's rookie jersey. So that's pretty cool. So it's pretty modern.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I got a Kaprizov, from a couple of years back, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing is what is in the parameter of making sense to go after. Is it financially feasible? I mean, is it some of the times I've made horrible thinking that I've made horrible financial decisions, and then no, actually, you did really, really great. Some of these have, acquired a certain amount of value that, and that's great to have that in the hobby, in your own collection to see some things appreciate because it goes the other way pretty quickly.
Yes,
So
yes, it sure
yeah,
can. What's the Have you had any like really weird or oddball pieces in your collection?
yeah. Can you guys see me yet, or am I still
Yeah,
frozen?
nope, you're good. Yeah, you're much better.
Okay, let's see if I can go grab it. I've got I don't know. It'd probably take too long to look for. I've got a Beavis and Butthead jersey. That's weird. It's got like Canucks colors or something, and on the back it's customized as Gretzky 99. And it's got a Beavis and Butthead crest. That's pretty
Now,
weird.
it'd only be better if you could get Gretzky to wear that at some point.
Oh, I'm sure he'd love it. He'd be like, all right.
That
Yeah, that
that
would be
is
great.
that's funny. Waiter Paul, got any questions for Chris?
What is that USA jersey behind you? That's the one I've been staring at.
All right, that's a Neil Broughton pre-Olympic, pre 1980 Olympic jersey that he wore for
Oh,
like
cool.
a crap load of games. So the 1980 Olympic team, when Herb Brooks was really trying to get these guys conditioned and everything else, he really I mean, you go look back. I mean, buddy Kyle Owen does an unbelievable job with his site, Vintage Minnesota Hockey, and he has all the games they played. they played against NHL teams. I think they played against AHL teams. They played against the Gophers. They played about everybody that to leading up to that team, and that's a mesh. Just looks like it's mesh, and it's got sublimated the what am I talking about? It's not sublimated. It's the oh my gosh. Anyway, it's a USA jersey that Neil Broughton. Yeah, what's that?
Like a pressed on logo, heat pressed.
Yeah, pressed up. Well, what's the Nordiques the fleur de lis that peel off, right? Or
yes,
whatever. I'm
yeah.
messing
So
it up.
that
It
same
doesn't
kind of
matter. You guys know
material.
what I'm talking about.
Yep.
We're good. Yeah. So so that's a Neil Broughton. It's great. It's got repair and everything on it. Looks like got some nice use on it. And it's, probably the closest that I'm ever going to be personally, or probably financially want to be to anywhere near that team. As far as like what they did on the, as far as on the ice during the event, during the tournament. So I like it. Neil Broughton's a local dude here from Minnesota. So, and a heck of a player. So definitely love it.
It's a great jersey.
Thank you.
Very nice one to have in your collection. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic eyes there, Paul. I did not put together that was USA. Wade, you got anything?
No, I mean, great collection, great stories. I think it's always fun to hear kind of when people get into it. The one thing I thought that was pretty cool was you kind of mentioned, the 91, 92, the 75th anniversary, because that is, an era for me that is kind of the same thing that you said. I think that's such an incredible era in the NHL and the jerseys and those patches. And you hit on it. And I really thought about it after you said it. Like there's a collection of names that I don't know if the NHL ever will or ever had a set of stars in the league that kind of happened in that era. Like, the onset of the Russian Five, and then, Yzerman and Gretzky and Messier and Hall, and, just across the board, the names that kind of, in my opinion, are the hallmarks for the jersey collecting world, right? I think that era is one of those things that when you talk about people that collect today, I think that's one of those like staple areas in the hobby. And again, those 75th jerseys are just one of those things that are just such an incredible part of our hobby. So you got me there, right? I thought that was really cool. So I really enjoyed that,
Yeah, should I go grab a couple of them? I've got a bunch of them. Should I show them or no?
No, I mean, sure, but I mean, it's just the story of it. I mean, I think it's fun, I think that.
Oh no, you are absolutely bang on. I mean, what you just said too, like the Russian Five, the Russians emergence. I mean, the unbelievable skill on display. Pavel Bure, what is going on? Sergei Fedorov. I mean, that was when I was.
So many in that era that like that was kind of that onset, and you kind of hit on, the original 6 jerseys, that some of the teams were that year, like the whole thing. Like I know that is an era that really, those jerseys are probably what brought me into loving jerseys at that age too. I'm a couple years older than you, but a similar era. So yeah, I mean, like that really hit home for me because I thought that was pretty cool. Mario, you just think about those guys and you think about the names that just transcended hockey at that point. Mario and Wayne and Brett, and like I can keep listing them, right?
Absolutely.
And just that was really cool. So I thought that was a great point that you made. I really enjoyed it. So, and I love hearing about your collection. I mean, what a you had a great eye for stuff. Picking up an early Ovi or picking up stuff that you did when you did. Wow, good for you.
Now, what does your family think of this?
I'm secluded. They don't let me come up from the basement. They give me food every once in a while. I'm cut off from lots of things. Thank God. There's a window down here. No, I don't know. They're supportive of. You know what? You guys might everyone listening too. I mean, that are the collectors. You might hit or miss with like having the like significance, like click of like why this is important. I think that even you're saying, way like there's historical significance to really everything from the best, the top to the bottom, and I to have that is to us is a piece of history that we get to share and have stories about and I just don't think my friend base, I don't think totally completely gets it. I think I get a lot of like, oh, that's cool, right? But
Yeah.
and then the next thing is like, well, is it signed? Is it
Yeah, for
signed? I'm
sure.
like,
Yeah.
well, let me tell you a little bit about the view, as collectors, and I'm thinking like nobody cares. Okay, good. I lost you on the signature thing, but my family's supportive for sure. I think whenever you have a mental illness, I think your family should be supportive. They love you.
But you're right.
But
You're
yeah,
right. You're right on with it because and for me, I mean, like I think of my group of friends who have zero interest in the hobby, but still come by our expo, right? Doc will
yeah,
see it. Or, when I'm in a blues game and people come over and say hi to me from the hobby, my friends refer to me as the king of the dorks, which I think is really funny, like,
Yeah, and
oh,
most
you're
of
the
that's
king.
coming from your family.
Yeah, like, you're all the king of the Jersey Girls, right? No, but, and your family does, like, at some point, like my family always kids around that they're going to have a yard sale because they want to see how many people fly in for it, like, if I die.
yeah.
So, like, I mean, but it is funny to see how your friends and family react. I know my coworkers, will ask me about my jersey collection or, see me doing stuff with it, or even having people drop stuff off at my at my office, stuff I've picked up that people run by. So, but that's part of the fun of it, right? And I think our families, I obviously I know both Paul and Doc's wives, right? And obviously their involvement in the hobby and support of it, and like for me with the expo, my family, supports it and helps me run it, and have always been a part of my hobby journey. So it's cool. I'm glad that they let you have a window and you get to come out of the basement occasionally.
Now with
Yeah,
you playing
yeah.
music and stuff, have you one ever written? I don't know if you write some of your own stuff or just do covers. Have you ever written any kind of hockey song, or have you worn a jersey at any point while playing?
I don't write a lot of music myself. I I would say I do inspired covers, and it's kind of how I started playing music. Was I kind of was maybe like self-taught because I wanted to play, what was it back then, like Soundgarden, and like Bush, and then it went to like Black Sabbath, and I was just like, I want to play just like the jerseys that I like I want, right? Like I don't really, I want to get that one. Well, I want to play that one. I want to play that song. Um, I kind of learned, that was kind of how I learned how to play almost. It was to play and sing. I'm like, all right, I'd like to, so I don't write a lot of music personally, but I guess I don't sing anything really that would be hockey related, except for, okay, so there's the Wild anthem, which you probably don't know because you guys aren't Minnesota Wild fans. Maybe someone out there listening, they've heard it, but it's like we were raised with a stick and a pair of blades, and I do a really good version of it, and I like it, and I sing it when I'm if I've like historically been performing while the Wild game is on, or they've got a hockey game, pretty much Wild game, and they score, I'll just go right into that, and people dig it. So yeah, that's about as close as I got for the hockey related song. I don't sing "I Want to Ride a Zamboni." I don't know why I don't do that one, because maybe it's kind of sounds, I don't know, little cheesy. I don't know.
Nope, I get it. I just was curious since you've
Yeah,
got that background as well.
yeah.
And have you ever worn a jersey while playing?
Oh yeah. Like replica, jerseys. I'll have, I still have a bunch of replica jerseys. Not a whole lot.
Sure.
But I have in the past. I haven't in years. I mean, I've been performing forever, so I can't even remember the last time I wore a jersey performing. Plus, I mean, I don't think I'd I would probably can't tell you if I wore one or not because I don't want to get people thinking, oh, this guy's playing shows in his jerseys. But no, I don't. Honestly, I haven't really played. I mean, and it's cool. There's definitely sometimes I have, and um, I think I remember way back. I was ski oceanic in this really nice restaurant that I was singing at, and here I am again, I have dreadlocks, and I've got this Rimouski Oceanic Crosby jersey, and here I am. I think I was singing like gin and juice, you play to the crowd. You realize
Oh,
that these guys,
definitely.
everybody likes it here, but all these, all the fine dining over here probably didn't enjoy the gin and juice cover. So, but
What do they know
yeah,
anyway?
I have before in the past, right?
Oh, that is awesome. So you have been around the hobby a while. Kind of, do you
Yeah.
see any? I guess word it this way: what, if anything, what would you change?
Oh God, I didn't even thought
Or
about
do you
that.
see
I
any
mean,
issues? Do you see any issues in the hobby
yeah,
that should be changed?
sure. I mean, I guess just I think just generally how we communicate with each other sometimes. I mean, I even like look back and sometimes I'm like, did I come off a certain way? Because sometimes you're just messaging, right? And you're just, typing things out. And I'm wondering like, God, did I come off in a certain way? Or maybe somebody else comes off to me and it just, just to be maybe considerate of that part. But I don't know. Communication. Um, as far as the hobby, things I would change, I really don't have anything at this moment right now that's coming to mind. But connection, I think it's important to connect with the other collectors. Like here I am, I've been in the hobby it has been a long time, and I don't even really realize that. And I think everybody collects differently. Here you go. Found it. Guess what? We all collect differently, right? Why don't we just appreciate that? Nobody's got to have this way's got to be the way you collect. What the hell is that? I mean, come on. Like, let's, be respectful. I mean, even to like, hearing, people really complain and, hey, people, you might even be listening to this and not like some of the like the dealers or whatever. I mean, some people you don't know what's going on. Some people collect things to have it and enjoy it and say, okay, I've enjoyed it. It's been a couple months, or maybe it's been a year or whatever. I mean, I'm going to now move it, or I'm going to parlay this into anything. And that could be what they love about the hobby is they get to move things around. And that's phenomenal. I've actually done a lot. We've heard his name a lot here, tooting his horn, Hunter Lane. He's a great dude. And, he has gotten things. I heard Mitch last week talk about this, right? Like, guys like Hunter, they will go and they'll get things out of the darkness. They will get things out of the basement of places that would never see the light of day because they're moving and shaking things around. And I have some pieces in my collection that I wouldn't have without, Hunter himself personally or whoever we're talking about. I think it's very important for people to be respectful about everybody else's collects. And guess what? It's none of your business, right? If I get something right now, I can sell it for however much I want to whoever I want to, right? That's just how it should be. So that's it. That would be something I would change is a little bit more just general respect for everyone else because everybody is different and we all collect differently and we're all a bunch of crazy psychopaths that are awesome at the same time.
The politics of the hobby.
But real quick,
There
sorry,
you
real
go.
quick, Wade.
Yes.
And Chris, I don't think I could have summed that up better because we preach it here too. Is you can have one jersey, you can have 1,000. You're still a collector. We all appreciate the things we're
Right.
going after. So it doesn't matter how many you have. But no, Wade, you're also you're very correct in the politics.
Yeah, I mean it's something worth navigating, and it's something that's I find almost comical sometimes, based upon how some of the people foresee it. I think it's interesting that the way you just put that is kind of a different spin than maybe we've heard, um, and maybe a different angle to look at it from. People do complain about the politics of the hobby, the different angles of everything, but at the end of the day, I mean, like, you know, the uniqueness of what we collect and how we collect is part of what makes it fun for each of us. I do understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, and that's what makes it beautiful, right? And I just see that people, there's a certain collection, hey, and that's it's fine. I the whole like like flippers or whatever, it's okay. I mean, maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe guess what? Maybe I can't afford like to have, you know, 200. Maybe I can't afford to have 200 jerseys or whatever it is. Maybe I can only afford to have one freaking awesome jersey that I pay a lot of money for, right? But I don't have room or whatever my life situation is. And then I get it, and then I get to like, okay, well, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get another one. And then that is that a flipper or something? And maybe I'm making money at the same time. Maybe that's even better. Wow. So I don't know. I just think it's to calm down a little bit about that. But I don't know. I guess I haven't really seen it too much. I'm not. I guess I'm not enough to go on too big of a rant about it all. I mean, I guess I don't even know if I've even been called a flipper or anything else like that. But I guess, communication and just respect ultimately. I mean, I feel like Randy Marsh from South Park, like, oh, I thought this was America, right? Like, isn't this America? Like, you can do, just, as long as you're not hurting anybody and screwing anybody over on purpose or whatever. I mean, let's just all collect and have a good time doing it because it is what it is.
Now, as you're touching on the topic of flipping or reselling or moving jerseys, whatever, there always seems to be a lot of attention to what the jersey sold for the time before. It's so, if someone, that jersey was sold by the team, 8 months ago for, $500 or whatever. Now he's asking seven or whatever. Um, what I always found interested, that only happens to collectors. No one says that to dealers. It's, no one
Right.
asks what's my gray paying for the jersey I'm buying right now. And, it's probably harder to get that information, most definitely, but it really shouldn't matter for the current price. The market really sets the price on what someone's willing to pay for a jersey, the availability. I know we'll all overpay for certain players that we want in our collection, and it's no,
So,
I'm with you. I think sometimes that gets a little bit too I don't know the right word for it. Uh, it's just not a fun aspect of the hobby when they start,
so I set and I set what I'm willing to pay for a jersey based upon what I feel like a jersey's worth. And I obviously you use tools to figure that out. You see what they sold for an auction, you do whatever. I mean, but in the same sense, at the end of the day, like what I'm willing to pay for something or what I'm willing to sell something for is completely on me, right? I mean, um, there's certain things that I would completely overpay for. There's a couple. I mean, I throw things out there. There's a couple players from the Blues that sell for way more money than I think they should sell for based upon what I know is out there as far as, total number of jerseys, where some are hiding and whatever. So like I just guys I'd love to have in my collection. I'm just not willing to pay what people think the market is or what the market would bear for them. So rather than really kind of caring about it, I just know that I'm not going to get those guys until I get one to the price that I'm comfortable paying for it. Right.
the way it
And I
should be.
think and I mean, at the end of the day, the market sets the price. You know, I mean, you could talk about all the different third party vendors and all that stuff. Like you could even throw the Migrate in there. I mean, Migrate's got tons of jerseys that they've had for 5, 10 years, right? But they don't change their price. Like they set a price, they have a standard. I mean, they have some sales and stuff like that, but you don't see them do like market adjustments on stuff. And I'm not hating on them, and I'm not taking a stab at or shot at them or anything. I'm just saying, like, a price of a jersey that they have on the website is typically the price that stays on that jersey for a long time, unless you catch it on one of their sales or from one of their specials. But that just is what it is. Obviously, if you're a collector of a team and you're looking at the current auction prices, that sets a standard. But I mean, like here, the Blues just had tonight the military jerseys, the warm ups that they don't wear anymore, sold, right? Um, they sold for really reasonable prices compared to what they used to sell for because the players aren't touching them. But at the end of the day, like I didn't bid on any of those because I know that if I want one, if I wait a year or 6 months, somebody bought one of those and I'm going to be able to get it for half of what they paid for it, right? So it becomes how willing are you to invest your time in the hobby to make sure that the investment you're putting in your collection is valid.
But it's like a trap though, like because you have that knowledge and oh my gosh, this is well, I can't wait till I'm not going to pay that price. I'm going to wait
Yeah.
for all these to come on the secondary market or whatever else, and then they don't, and you're like,
No, for sure.
you don't have it. I mean, it's a part of it because
Like
there's
I'll give
no
you an example.
price is relative, like you're saying, price is
Yeah.
all relative.
Oh, for sure. Like I love I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to end up like probably hate myself for saying this. The Florida jersey that they wore, the baby blue one with the sunshine and the sticks, and one of the best jerseys. I'm going to say it right here. One of the best jerseys I've ever seen in my entire life. I freaking love them. Right at the time when they came out, I was like, dude, I got to get one of those. I didn't do it. Now I know that I will probably die wanting one because the prices on those things are absolutely like astronomical because turned out everybody else loved them too.
Right.
So I shit the bed. So be it.
Well, but the other piece of that too is waited. The luck is always happens is you're waiting, and three other things pop up, and then that also pops up, and it's the worst timing. It seems to happen constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like undoubtedly, when set one from the Blues comes out, pardon my French, there's going to be some asshole that's going to drop 4 or 5 jerseys that I could possibly want 2 weeks before that auction that I'm going to have to like figure out what direction I want to go, right? It happens to all of us every time, right? If you're I mean, it happens to everybody. It happens, and that's part of the fun and part of the challenge of, figuring out which direction you want to go.
I wouldn't have anything like I have right now if I didn't like if someone just what you said there, right? Like a little bit ago, and you said, you have your price of comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But then okay, well, what if I go here? What if you're comfortable and what this is gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you like, oh God, all right, I'm gonna do it, and then guess what? You did it. You got it. Oh my gosh! And then you would never have gotten it ever again unless you paid like all of a sudden it's all the way up here. So those moments really, I mean, we all have them. We've got those things that we're thinking about, like your Panthers reverse retro. Like that was, oh man. And then there's also the winners, right? Of like, thank God I really pushed myself when I probably shouldn't have to get those other ones. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all relative, man.
By the way,
it's fun.
Yeah, my a-hole comment was a joke because those people are all my friends, and God knows I love you guys. But you're gonna somebody's gonna catch me, and it happens every year. So be it.
Right.
Nothing but love.
Well, I think we've covered a ton of ground, and it's always again fun to talk to collectors and find out why they got started, how they got started. And it sounds like you somewhat, Chris, started with replicas and authentics and then transferred into the game jerseys once you realized that was a thing. And it's funny how many people we've talked to that have done that.
Yep.
But again,
sorry,
go ahead.
If you're liking, it's a natural progression. I think if you're into the jerseys, I mean, it depends. It depends. Everybody's got their own path, right? But yeah, it's definitely a similar story. It wasn't really that exciting. I didn't like all of a sudden wake up and I was like, my dad wasn't the equipment guy for a team, and I was getting all the stuff or whatever. But whatever. We all have our own paths to where we're at. So here we are.
Hey, you did have a rink on the lake, so that's, kind of like your dad being the equipment manager.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So one
That was
thing
cool.
which,
Oh, it was way cool.
oh yeah, oh that's incredible. I actually spent a winter in Minneapolis. We'll talk about that later off of Lake Nokomis, but we'll talk about that after the
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Loved it up there.
Okay.
One thing which we didn't get into yet, which actually had Chris and I started talking about, which was then like, yeah, let's get on the show and talk about this, was you had some ideas about expos. We have, a lot coming up this weekend. We maintain the list on Opert. I'll push the San Jose, LA, and Vegas one. Get your reservations in for Vegas soon, please. But you had some good ideas about Midwest shows and some stuff I thought we could discuss a little bit. I'd love to have you bring that up and mention your ideas to everyone here.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so I would say um I am someone that has been in the hobby for, gosh, looks like it's 20 years, I guess. That's a long time. And I've never been to an expo outside of our St. Paul, Minnesota expo. And thinking, why is that? Right. And I think like some of the bigger ones, for some reason, I was thinking, it's summertime, and the My Gray Expo has always been kind of one that's been the big one that I was thinking, oh, that's the big one. That's the big event. That's the Catalina wine mixer, right? Of expos in my mind. So I was thinking, well, I can't justify that because I'm a musician and I'm singing at like fancy private parties or something on that weekend, like every single time. It's like I think it's in July. I think it's in July. August, July. Anyway, that's like for summer months here. It's like I'm always busy, and that maybe is just an excuse, right? So, um, we've and then we've had this Minnesota expo for a while, and I don't know how long I want to go in about how that started. I think it started with the 2003 All-Star game. Like I mentioned his name before, Dave Frechette. I doubt he's going to listen to this, but if he does, he's he was back in the day. He was North Star stuff, whatever. But he got an event going over at the Holiday Inn. I wasn't around. I wasn't even a collector at this point, like with gamers or anything, or knew anything really with within that scene. But I guess that trickled into going over to Tom Reed's, because Tom Reed is always around there, and friends with Tom over there, and he had the collectors here in Minnesota, and I don't even really know how well traveled it was. Anyway, here we are. The COVID happened. Dave stopped doing the show. John Lindberg, who is an awesome collector from Minnesota here, also a big Neil Broughton guy, just awesome stuff himself. And Kyle Owen, I mentioned him before. They kind of got, hey, let's get this going again. And we had a couple at Tom Reed's, and I think not this year, but the year before, we had a couple. We get some people in from out of town and get bigger presence there. But it's always like, wait a second, what are we doing? Could we do this better? And are we doing this just so we can all just have a day and get together ourselves, or are we trying to get more traffic here? Do we have interest, and then individually, I think to myself, I've been in this hobby 20 years. It would be great to go and meet everybody, right? Like, and that's such an important thing. I think that it's a recurring thing on this podcast is weekly lately, we've been talking about that. And I think that there's a real big value in that. And I think that establishing these relationships is only going to make us better. And I think that as we see the more and more collectors, the hobby's growing, I think it does become a bigger thing. Like, wait, these are very important. And I think I mentioned earlier that like I had this thing where I was like, wait a second, the St. Paul Expo is a week before the St. Louis Expo. I wonder what the St. Louis dudes think about that. I didn't even think maybe that. Well, that's great. We have it. It's right there. It's okay. When are we doing it? How can we get more traffic? Let's get more people involved. So I think I started to think about expos in general. And then I thought about like, well, wait a second. So that we got a Chicago one this year. Detroit's had one. St. Louis, you guys have always been doing. You guys have been doing it for a long time. I actually don't even know how long you guys have been doing it, but for a while, right?
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah. 5 years. Next year will be 6.
5 years.
So,
Sweet. Great.
yeah, the hardest part about it is, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to maybe ruffle some feathers, but for 5 years, I have been trying to grow something to a national type of thing and invite people from all over the country, with honestly some pretty shitty response from some people who are pretty prevalent in the hobby, which sucks. And I'm willing to say it out loud because you brought up the topic. I've posted about our show in St. Louis. It's not a St. Louis show; it's a hobby show, right? And I've invited people. I've posted in the Nashville groups. I've posted in Minnesota groups. I've posted in Chicago groups. I've posted in Dallas groups with like terrible reception, right? I've went out east to try to promote it with poor reception. And at the end of the day, I think you're right. I think there is value in having multiple people come on board to do it. The sad part about it is so many people have been underwhelmingly receptive to it, and that's the sad part about it. The West Coast guys do a great job of that, and out east, because of the comfort of travel, it seems like they've done a good job of it. I love, like, Francis is an incredible person, and I really think the staple of the hobby is honestly the Nova. And I think Francis does an amazing job of uniting a lot of people from a couple different collecting circles, but also his location helps that, right? I've offered to and said for years I'd be willing to make a traveling show out of what I do. Again, with poor reception. So I'm still all ears for it, and I would love to get people on board, but that's going to take some people, other people wanting to actually do something, to grow it, right? So to respond to you, I'm in. Like that's my answer, and I know Doc.
All right.
I mean, if
for
people
sure.
were willing to, if other people were willing to actually step to the plate and be, receptive to it, I think it's a great idea to find a way to maybe make a traveling once a year show that would invite everyone, and it doesn't have to be.
So the what I was thinking is like, well, I was thinking, okay, we're all in the Midwest, kind of, blop, 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 splotched around, even Winnipeg, right? And then there's the East, like you said, East is so the travel, right? You're driving primarily. And then, the West, like that's a couple right there. And I was just thinking if we had something central and I haven't even spoken. You're the first, other expo guy, creator. Oh my gosh, creator.
Host would work for me.
Host, yes. Sorry, that we've been talking about, but I was just thinking, like, well, why don't we do, or is there interest, right? Is there interest in doing something where we can designate, if we get like 5 cities together, 4 cities, 3 cities to start, whatever, to designate a Midwest, like you said, you had a similar idea, right? Of some kind of traveling expo. But I think that if you designate a Midwest expo, that it's once a year, you can still, all the cities would still be able to do their own individual one. So, and then they'll get the local ones, because we all know that there's
I would
certain
love for it to
people that
happen.
are never going to go.
No, I would love for that to happen. I just don't think that there are. I don't think that there are enough like-minded people who would be willing to do it. But I mean, I'm hopeful of it. I mean, like I said, I've been trying to suggest it and grow it for 5 years, and Doc can attest that, and so could Paul.
Oh, for sure.
But it is what it is. I mean, again, it does come back to politics and all that kind of silliness that does exist in our hobby. And I'm hopeful that someday we could find a way to do what the sports cards and the autograph communities have done, and that's actually grow some real shows that aren't 25 tables. But that's going to take people actually really jumping on board to make it. where you could have a 100 table show or a 200 table show and really do something special for our community. But
So one thing I want to say, one thing here, one thing I will say is that communication is paramount. And I think
yeah,
I'm not exactly a host. I'm more of the, I'm not the one that books the room or anything. John has done that. John Lindbergh, for
well,
our
it's gonna have to be.
Minnesota
I mean,
Expo.
it can't be a room. That's the thing. It's gonna have to be like
Right.
a real thing, right? You're gonna have to actually have people that, and some of the hobby, companies are gonna actually have to contribute, not just want to show up and throw a tablecloth on and take consignments, but actually like do
A full
something.
convention center
Yeah,
setup.
I mean, like somebody's like it's gonna take more than one or two guys, and that's what's gonna have to happen for the hobby to really grow a national, right? Um, and that's gonna take people that actually have kind of the guts to jump on board and form a committee of people and set up an established thing, but then actually have people buy into it. So I'm not gonna hold my breath for it, but it would be a wonderful thing, and who knows,
Well, I
Well, I
think
think what's
even
happening right now, and the show here is really showing that you guys have new collectors on.
Yeah,
You have collectors that have just entered the hobby
yeah,
like a few years ago, and it's something
yeah.
like, it's like, whoa, I see it growing. I see it like,
No, for
wow, it's
sure. I
growing
mean,
and growing. So it's at least, I think it's something cool to maybe have conversation about and see
for sure.
what would work, and if there wasn't like even if it started out slow. I mean, again, this is just an idea
Yeah,
of,
we all do this.
like-minded people, right? So
Yeah, we all do this. I mean, here, I'm going to throw this out there. I mean, like, like I worked 13-hour day yesterday and a 11-hour day today, and I came home and jumped right into this thing, right? We
yeah.
all do that. We all put in a lot of effort. Doc puts in a lot of time. Paul does a lot of things for the hobby, and we all invest a lot of time in this. We're not doing this because we made a joke before, like our contracts aren't coming up. We're not getting paid for this, right? We all do
We'll
this.
go
Right.
from 1-0 to 2 in
Yeah,
all of our
yeah.
checks.
I mean, like we all do this for the love of the hobby and invest the time in it and invest the time in producing all the stuff because we're all trying to grow the hobby. It would be nice to continue to see some other people jump on board for that with it and come in for a win for the hobby, right? Because this is a time thing for all of us, and this is a dedication thing. That's why the three of us are the ones that stuck it out and do it every week, right? I mean, it's not always easy. Life gets in the way, but we all find a way to make it work. And for there to be a real national show, there's going to have to be some people who really want to put in some work and get together and do something that could be really long lasting for our community.
that sort of
Well,
magnitude.
and we'll make it happen. We got to make it happen, right? We communicate and we'll see if we can do it. I don't know. I have no idea how I'm going to do it or if I'm going to do it. I have an idea. I thought it'd be great to look at what it looks like, and I just think that getting to bringing everyone together as much as we can is and obviously it's not perfect or in any sense. So it's just it's something to be hope, like if there's hope, and maybe it's something that other host cities would be interested in groups there. I think that there could be some traction, and
Yeah,
we'll
I
see. We'll
hope.
see, right?
We can hope that it takes off to the point where, yeah, it could be a traveling show like that and bring in whatever the collectors are in that area and just be able to draw across the board. And it takes time and it takes money is a big thing. And I know all of you, Wade and Francis and everybody that puts on shows across the country, Paul, you as well, you're doing it in your free time and managing it around your full-time life. Is we all have jobs. Paul's retired, but hey, you busted your butt to get there. Um, but the most of the rest of us are still doing our main thing and then balancing this on the side. So I mean, the time commitment just for the planning and getting the volume you need is high, but hopefully with discussions like this, it could get there.
So one thing I do want to on this whole topic here, something the magnitude of like the national for the card shows and stuff scares the hell out of me.
Yeah,
That just seems um organizing something of that size
Yeah,
would be
it wouldn't
really
jump to that
daunting.
size. It wouldn't jump to that size. Like
Yeah,
here, I mean, like honest
yeah.
to God, I mean, is it doable? Yeah, it's going to require, like, again, a panel of people to do it. You can't have one or two guys doing it, and there's going to have to be some people put some egos aside and be willing to like jump on a team for it, right?
Now
Um,
you're getting there. And I mean, just the number of people we have in the hobby is nothing like what's in the card collecting
no, no,
hobby,
no, no, no.
other ones.
Here,
So we're talking,
you could easily put together a 50 to 75 table show to start it, right?
yes,
You'd have to get the support of, some of the vendor people, some of the dealers, and some of the auction houses and brands, and some financial support from some of that. Not just, like I said, not just showing up and throwing a tablecloth on a $50 table. But again, those are the people who would benefit it from the most long term, right? But that's neither here nor there. I mean, like, and I'll throw it out there. I say it, like, if you've come to the St. Louis show, right next to my building is a you know huge conference center that could house an entire thing, right? And it's done some large card shows over the years. There's plenty of those around the Chicago area and the St. Louis area, the Memphis area, the Minneapolis area. Those things exist. It's just a matter of having enough people and enough dollars to put it together to get it started and then grow it. But again, you're gonna have to get people to come on board more than just two or three dudes.
and committed to showing up. I mean, it's not
Absolutely.
just yeah, it's not just the people at tables, not just the dealers. It's collectors who don't necessarily want to have a table come out there and show up because I don't know what the numbers are like at the Miger Expo. I've never been there. I'll be honest. I don't know how it breaks down between tables and people who just show up. Partially to get in line for the sale at the warehouse, others just to enjoy the hobby. So it seems like for a lot of the shows we have going on, it's a lot of people with tables and stuff, and
Yeah.
then another set showing up just to see what we have and visit. But it there's the split between them isn't all that great. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it's
but
got to be
yeah,
a destination. Like, you have to make it to really have this thing work. It has to be a destination. It has to be something that people earmark on their calendars in a quantity, and not just 25 or 30 people. I mean, you're really gonna have to use the communities and get the people that are the players in their different community to really get their community on board to do it and say, hey, we're going to this thing this year. Next year it might be in our city. Like, how much do you really care about this stuff, and how much are you willing to invest in it, right? Because at the end of the day, the more this grows, the more, yeah, I hate to say it, especially for the people that are dealers and on that other end of it, the more it grows, the more money you're going to make on it, right? Because the more vested interest comes in the hobby. And now the bad part about it is, I say that, and there's going to be another segment of the community that goes, oh, this stuff's already getting too expensive as it is. You're just going to screw it up for the rest of us. But again, it's not about money. It's about growing the connections. But I mean, I'm really turned off by the whole thing at this point. I feel a lot of negativity towards it. It's one of the reasons I'm made some adjustments to how I'm doing my show moving forward. But again, I'm a person who's in this because I love this stuff and because I love the community. So I'm definitely a guy who would be willing to be part of that conversation. But again, I don't want to be the only person in the conversation.
Right.
That and talk, I mean, this was and is a great conversation on the hobby and how we can continue to go forward. And I know there'll be people out there that won't agree with us, that will, I won't say send negative or nasty messages,
Oh, they're coming.
because I look at it this way: it's all constructive criticism. Because if we're not saying these things, if we're not out here saying, hey, what could we do this, or what, then we're stuck in the, well, we've always done it this way. If you say that, you're never going forward with anything, and it will be the same thing all the time, and you've never learned, you've never adapted, you've never grown. It's just this. And if you're stuck in that mindset, that's a problem. But
Yeah, I agree.
I think this has been a an absolutely fantastic conversation across, and Chris, I hope you enjoyed it as well, and the fact that you shared such an awesome, I'm going to say eclectic, but such a just a cool wide range collection.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. And honestly, the whole idea behind that the Midwest Expo or whatever it was, I understand. Like that's why we talk. I mean, gosh, I've never talked to you, Wade. I'd love to hear your perspective
Yeah,
and your thoughts about
you
it. And it
actually
was
got. I
never
mean,
like,
I love it. I mean, for me, like I said, and if anybody's ever met any of us or seen us at the different shows, we love this stuff. And that's why we invest in this.
right.
There's no personal gain again from the show in regards to us, besides the fact that we love talking about this stuff and we love having new collectors and old collectors and promoting the different expos and the different opportunities for people to grow their hobby and grow their interest in this stuff that we love. So I hope people take that away from it, right? More than anything else. And if you got mad about it, I don't care. Come find me.
Well, like I said, I'll go back to I've used it several times in shows. It being in political talk radio. If I'm not pissing at least one person off, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah,
So
I'm easy to find. I'll be at the Nova.
right.
I'll be at the Nova in March. If you
Yes.
really are mad at me, if you're really mad, come actually show up in St. Louis in October. I'll be happy to host you.
With that, gents, Paul, I'll start with you. Give you any final thoughts?
Oh, great conversation. Wonderful having you on the show, Chris. Um, Everyone, if you want to discuss this further, come on out to the expo in Vegas. We have the Frozen Four with it.
Yeah, I'll be
A
there
lot of
too. I
room in
almost
there.
forgot.
Wade will be there. You can argue with him. And just in case we have not pissed off enough people yet, France did qualify for the World Cup today. I believe they're the only team that actually technically qualified with, I mean, Norway's in unless they lose to Italy by 9 goals.
Yeah.
So, that's not going to happen on Monday or Tuesday, whenever that game is. And no one from CONCACAF has qualified today. So that's your World Cup update. We were going to talk about parking prices for the World Cup, but I will save that when we have more time.
I'd like to talk about. I've got about a 10-minute spiel on college lacrosse. How about, can we do that? I'm just kidding.
I'm actually really curious about it. So we'll just record the after conversation.
I'm joking. I'm
Yeah.
giving it. No, it's all good. Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. This was
Thanks for
great.
coming.
You guys are doing an awesome job. Great stuff. And yeah, I love what we talked about. And let's keep it going forward. And communication is paramount. So
Definitely. Wade, final thoughts from you.
Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure, Chris, and thank you very much. And wherever you're going this weekend for the expo, have a great time. Just again, continue to be a steward to our hobby and enjoy the camaraderie and the people that you enjoy it with.
One final thing that I was going to mention,
yes.
completely not completely related. I did put a post up on the Dirty Laundry page yesterday morning, mentioning that I'm playing for the Pucks for Autism game again in St. Louis on Saturday. And I want to thank the collectors, including Wade and several others that have thrown money on the link that I shared to help fundraise for that. I am currently, with one day to go, in the number one position. So thank you to all the collectors that have thrown money to donate to that. It's something that I am lucky to do every year. It is so much fun. If you are a hockey player and are interested in maybe playing in this game somewhere, shoot me a message. Even like Chris, in your case, they played at Minnesota November the 1st. So they played, one of my friends actually from here in the area went and played goalie before the Minnesota Wild game for Pucks for Autism and then stayed and watched the game. We're doing the
Cool.
same, where we'll play beforehand and then we go watch the Blues and Knights. So again, thanks for all the collectors that have kicked money that way and jumped me to number one on the fundraising. It just kind of feels cool to see that. But I know I've reached out to everybody that's donated money, and that cause, the Pucks for Autism stuff, does mean a lot to a lot of people, and just the autistic research and that. So wanted to say that thank you. If you still want to donate, you listen to this tomorrow morning. I will have a link up in the YouTube version, or if you go to the Dirty Laundry Game Worn Hockey Podcast Facebook page, the link is there as well. Thank you guys. Give us likes, subscribes, all those things. The numbers continue to go up every week. It means a lot that you give us a critique, give us a, hey, I love this, that was an awesome show, whatever it is. It means a lot because it shows you're listening. That's the important thing. And we will see you guys back next week with another show.